Hi. Here we are, traveling with me, Christopher, on a recent business trip to Turkey. I realized that I really needed to see more of Istanbul and Adana, and I did not have time to do that when I was there for work, so I kind of replicated my trip and enjoyed a week, and it was quite remarkable. Of course, this was August. It was hot, right? Istanbul wasn't so terribly hot. Actually, he started cooling off pretty well. But Adana, which is further down, it was Middle East hot. It reminded me a lot of my time in Iraq. So, be that what it is, nevertheless, just a fabulous experience to get there. The people are extremely friendly. And I really didn't have anything negative to say about the trip at all whatsoever. Started out at Frankfurt International, took the train, stayed at the Hilton, and had a decent room. There were no suites available, but it's okay. You could see the view wasn't that great, but the Manhattan was not bad at all. In fact, I really enjoyed the Manhattan. The business class lounge is actually Air Canada's lounge, and it was phenomenally stocked. I mean, this was nice. Turkish Airlines doesn't have their own business class lounge at Frankfurt International at this time, so they're sharing those duties and spaces with the folks at Air Canada. I'm a one meal a day kind of guy, so didn't do much eating while I was there, but I did enjoy a couple of cocktails that morning, and boarded my flight, which was an A300 series, so you can see there was plenty of space and lots of gadgets there in business class. There was no first class option on this flight, but I wasn't going to be flying first class either way. But again, lots of gadgets, all of them worked, lots of places to plug in and charge up, roomy and spacious. It's pod seating. The meal was pretty good. I took a little bite of each piece of it, and because I'm not a morning eater, that's not a thing for me. But and there was a mask on the flight, and that was kind of a bummer. But I got to Istanbul, and had a meal before we landed. And this is the Yotel. It's the Yotel, and I stayed here Landside. They have an airside and a landslide, and the Landside Yotel is at the airport. You're there in the vicinity. Excellent cocktails, fantastic dining options that evening, and my room looked like something out of a Buck Rogers show from the 70s. It really did. But the wine was phenomenal. It was a Turkish Shiraz, and my 700 and some odd Turkish lira dinner was pretty good. The Yotel has plenty of places to plug in, charge up, and whatnot. But if you're like me and you travel with an Amazon Fire, you won't be able to plug your Fire Stick into the TV there, and that was a bummer for me. Now, on my cab ride, you'll see this kind of an interesting thing. I got myself a personal driver for the day for about 60 euros, and he took me down, and he just parked there, and I went to the Grand Bazaar, which was an absolute, that was a workout. It's hard to describe the kind of workout that was. It was pretty amazing. And just surrounded by a bunch of, there's some cultural stuff that you get to see and do, some actual, you've got the mosque and everything there, but which was great to take in. However, it was all of the people pushing, their sales on you. They want you to buy these faux Burberry, which I love Burberry, but I don't want faux anything. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Givenchy, Prada, you name it, they have everything there. Watches, it's the whole 9 yards, but they're not real. So, and you can't blame people for trying to be, trying to sell, because this is the economy. They need to eat. They want to eat. And so it was just it was kind of a heartbreaking experience for me, but I did actually have an okay time in the end, though, because I got to see something that I'd never seen before. I'd never been to the Grand Bazaar or anywhere around there. And some of the fakes were actually pretty close. You looked at them a little bit more critically, you could tell that, where they weren't authentic, genuine. But nevertheless, it's a very interesting experience. There's no question about it. Some legitimate stores, of course, and it was fabulous. But a lot of my heart just went out to the folks who, they're just it's high pressure sales. They're just trying to make a buck, And so I began just handing out like €5 bills. Just here, take this. I don't need anything, kind of an approach. Blown away by some of the sneakers and stuff that you see. It was really interesting to just see the level of quality, so to speak. It was just very, very interesting to be down there and to see that. Really difficult to put a finger on that. We get back to the first class and business class lounge at Istanbul International. Made my way through security, went on over and got ready for my flight. And this is the lounge area there at Istanbul. And it was pretty remarkable. They have people working, they have omelet stations, you can get just about anything to drink. And of course, it's all included. People in the kitchen making fresh bread, and then looking over the side rail of the lounge, I was able to see all the fantastic shopping options, which I really had no business messing with. So, but comfortable seating. The Mont Blanc store was calling to me, and I did make my way over there to get a couple of accessories. And nevertheless, very roomy and spacious. They had a live piano player, all sorts of fresh desserts and veggies, and hot tea, great Turkish tea, great Turkish coffee. So it really was a beautiful experience. I really enjoyed it. Here I've moved down to business class departure lounge, and getting ready to leave, which is an interesting process. I was on my way to Adana, and they, in the business class lounge there for departures, quite interesting. You can eat, do as you wish, etc. And then they bring a van around to you. And it was really quite interesting, to be honest with you. And then go up onto and board a 737-800. Meal wasn't quite the same, but when I landed in Adana, I checked into the Sheraton Grand there, and it was beautiful. I got the presidential suite, and this is some of the views from from my room here. Just absolutely amazing, very opulent experience. The bath was completely loaded. This place was bigger than my first home that I purchased back in Texas. I just had everything. I had my own kitchen, a fully stocked kitchen, fantastic terrace. It was warm again, but it was windy, beautiful. I really rather enjoyed it. You could see the Grand Mosque down there. It had wind barriers and whatnot. It was really quite neat. Here I'm playing with the remote control that operates the curtains, and it opens and closes them and brings down the dark shades and stuff so that you can get rid of the sunlight altogether. listening to some funky soul. I was able to plug my Fire Stick in, which is great because with that and VPN, I can watch just as I would anywhere in the world. This citrus tree is something that they're just everywhere. It's like there's just citrus trees everywhere of all varieties. Here's some evening views. Here I am playing with the TV and then giving you a walking tour of the presidential suite. I think I was up on the 6th floor, maybe the 7th, I can't remember. It could have been the 13th floor, I don't recall. Now, some of the furnishings at the Sheraton kind of reminded me of Graceland, kind of 70s-ish, but nevertheless a charming, I think the only word I can come up with that really truly describes the experience would be opulence. It was quite phenomenal. Marble floors. And here we are walking through the hallway. There were sitting areas. There were places, phone rooms, additional bathrooms. There was an entire kitchen there. And then into, the salon, and with a full bar. And of course, you've got this terrace space, which was just beautiful to walk out on, and to see the city, which is quite ancient, and in many ways modernized too, right? So you kind of have the two together there. Just beautiful experience all the way around. The plants and stuff, it's really hard to describe. I didn't do much sitting outside though, because it's warm, and I'm more of an indoorsman when it's not comfortable outside. But the food, room service, everything was above board. And a full dining room here, so I'm taking us through the other part. Had an office, complete with a place to plug in your laptop or whatever you're using. And here's the prayer room, facing east, and as a matter of fact, if you looked out the window there directly, you would see the mosque. You can actually hear the call to prayer outside, which was a really interesting experience. And here I am just going through. Now walking around in Adana downtown, just getting a visual of where I was at, and hearing the call of prayer. I remember in Iraq, it was kind of a spooky thing to hear that when you were on patrol somewhere, and out of minaret comes the call. It was a video I made saying that, look, I can speak German, French, Spanish, or English, but I'm sorry, don't speak Turkish. I learned how to say I'm sorry, I don't speak Turkish. Again, here we are on our way back. Not a bad meal on the flight home. And here we are crossing into Germany. But again, it was just a phenomenal experience. I don't know that I'm going to go back to the Grand Bazaar. It was really a workout. It was a workout. But I'm also very empathetic, and I'm an artist, of course I am, right? It was difficult to see those levels of poverty, and you wanted to just give everybody something, and you didn't want to, and if you're like, you don't want to buy something that's not real, there's no point, But yes, if you get the opportunity, go to Frankfurt. I took the train from Kaiserslautern. I went to Frankfurt, stayed in the Hilton, and I was able to just wake up in the morning and walk about 300 meters and go through the gate, and I'm right there. Business class flights from Frankfurt to Turkey on the Airbus, the 300 series. I think I was on the A330 on the first leg. It's great. The 737-800 MAX, it was nice. But it's an older plane, and you could tell that. But getting back to Istanbul from Adana, and then getting on the Airbus to come back to Germany it's a fantastic experience. Now, if you're going on business or for pleasure, but you just choose to do so, you can also drive to Frankfurt International, and you can park in business class parking there. You need to reserve a space well ahead of time. But nevertheless, you will be parked within about 150 meters from the hotel, and it's right there in the vicinity of both the Sheraton and the Hilton. So I recommend that as well if you care to drive. But for me, it's just too easy to take a cab up to the Hauptbahnhof here in Kaiserslautern and take the train to Frankfurt and just stay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, yeah, like and subscribe. Why not? Thank you so much. Next time.